Welcome back, Climate Viewers. This is Jim Lee from ClimateViewer News, and this is ClimateViewer TV, Ep.3 with Jim Lee and Elana Freeland. Now, if you guys don't know about her, she is freaking awesome. I've known her for about, I think, 2-3 years now. What would you say, Elana?
Yeah, but going on 3.
Yeah, and she's written an amazing book. Which I'm gonna let her tell her story real quick, but I just want to focus on the personal side that of all the people I've met in this chemtrail community, Elana's been one of the most open-minded, approachable, real people that I have met. So that's why she's on the show tonight, and we're going to have her for about an hour, and I want to try to shut up as much as possible.
No, I don't want that.
Which is going to be very hard for me if anybody knows me by now. If you don't know me by now. Elana has got a new book coming up about the space fence. Now, her first book was about chemtrails, HAARP, and the full spectrum dominance of Mother Earth. And we really have a very broad scoping book in the first one. And she's trying to focus, I believe, more laser-like on the space fence thing. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And Elana, introduce yourself. Tell everybody about yourself.
Hi, everybody. There are so many radio interviews. I'm sure some people get tired of hearing me say the same thing over and over.
Give us the short version.
Short version. I was at the 2012 Consciousness Beyond Chemtrails conference in Los Angeles, and I was pretty much a nobody then. I was definitely on the track to writing a book on chemtrails. And at that time, I really didn't know. I thought I knew something, but I was amazed by the people that spoke at the conference. It seemed like all the luminaries were there. And I had gone primarily so Clifford Carnicum and I, who we've been friends for years, could see each other because I wasn't living in Santa Fe anymore, where he was still living at that time. So I started out with Clifford, and so my first take on chemtrails was really via Morgellons and my own blood and my own saliva. So Clifford and I, we went through a lot of things about Morgellons because he'd been researching for about a decade at that point. And then when I came back and I was writing the book for Adam Parfrey at Feral House, Clifford helped me go through
in the first one.
Yeah, the first book.
Trying to focus, I believe, more laser-like on the space fence thing. So that's what we're going to talk about tonight. And Elana, introduce yourself. Tell everybody about yourself.
Jim, do you hear that?
Hi, everybody.
That is crazy. Why are you hearing yourself?
Do you hear what's going on?
Some people get tired of hearing me say the same thing over
I do. I hear you in the background and me in the background. Now that's crazy. I think you have a YouTube channel window open in the background. Check that out.
in Los Angeles, and I was pretty.
There you go.
That, you know what, it was your channel that I had opened, the thing that you had up.
So the live stream started auto playing in the background. Sorry. No biggie. All Continue on.
So the next thing that I got involved with was noticing that the chemtrails, it had to do with HAARP up in Alaska, because I was going through Bernard Eastland's patents thoroughly to understand the technology, and lo and behold, in the patents came across direct references to the necessity of metal particulates in the atmosphere in order for the HAARP experiments to be successful. So that's when I really got it, that they were together, and that was a real aha for me. And since then, I've just gone so many places between the radio frequency hitting of these metal particulates, all the way to Jim Lee's ideas on how the jet fuel is connected to that. So it's been one connection after another for me. And it may sound weird to people that someone, a writer, would set out to do research in physics, basically it's plasma physics, without the background in physics. I mean, I have a background in biology, but not physics. But I have always maintained, just like Jim Lee does, if you're smart enough and you pay enough attention and you're willing to spend enough hours, you can pretty much go to the bottom of things if you're willing to do that kind of research. And that's what I love about this movement. There are over a handful of people doing that. And we are basically reinventing the wheel in a way that we can't get access to because of national security. But we're also discovering how we can work together and what it means to put information out on this beloved internet before it's not ours anymore. That's how I look at it.
That's right. And what she was referring to earlier, just for those, those technical people and who are, very input happy climate viewers out there. This is the charged aerosol release experiment. This is just one example that you can find on weathermodificationhistory.com. And it's a timeline of events like we're talking about here. And the idea here is to fire a rocket into space that releases a cloud of dust, of metal particulates that then can be ionized and read by radars. It's used as tracers and used to actively modify the space-time environment or space weather. So that's just one example right there. But yeah, there's a very long history of that. And if you really want to find out where it starts, it goes all the way back to like the nuclear explosions, where they tried to blow up the poles or blow up the ionosphere. We had the metal particle space ring, which was actually built, in 58, they said we should do that. And then, in 61, they had Project Westford, where they put, millions and millions of little antennas into space to try to create an artificial ionosphere. And the long story short of this is that the military really kind of hates the ionosphere. And I mean, I really feel that way. Like it's unpredictable. It's like a crazy, spouse. You never know what you're going to get that day. So they would much prefer having, this metal antenna controllable, reflector in the sky than the very unpredictable ionosphere they have. So that's why they, have been trying to control it since the early 50s or just completely blow it up. But the problem was that, then the Russians tried to blow it up and suddenly it became a problem. They had Operation K in 62 and the world was like, oh, hell no, not Russia. You're not allowed to blow up the ionosphere. We're going to blow up the ionosphere. So in 63, and this is where I'm going to stop with the history lesson, but in 63, that's when everything took a dramatic turn. The Limited Test Ban Treaty occurred where they said, okay, nobody can blow up, blow up the ionosphere. Knock it off. So what that did was it basically said no more nuclear explosions above ground. They have to be, buried underground when they do them. So they still do them to this day occasionally. But in total, there were 2,053 nuclear explosions. And of that, only like 8 to 10 were in the upper atmosphere, like all the way in space. And in that short amount of time, when Russia popped theirs off in 62, by 63, they had banned it. And the same year, they started magnetospheric modification. And this, what you're seeing right here in this schematic from 1972, is pretty much the way it's been done ever since. They dump chemicals in space. It causes precipitating energetic particles to rain down on the poles. A patch of aurora ionization and atmospheric heating. So what happens is whenever they dump these chemicals in space, it causes protons and electrons, mev electrons, multi-millions volts to rain down on the poles, which creates artificial aurora, which heats the poles and destroys ozone. And they've been doing this since 63 when they first started. And you look at the entry details on this: create an artificial ion cloud in the interplanetary space and space for studying the state of interplanetary medium. Sounding rocket experiments of May 1963. There's the two references on that, but they started shooting sounding rockets off in 63 in the Sahara Desert. And now you hear everybody talk about the Wallops. You've heard this one, Elana, the one about Wallops Air Force Base, where they launched the lithium rocket, and the guy said chemtrail, and everybody, the world freaked out. They're like, oh my God, the NASA guy said chemtrail. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that is the same shit they've been doing since 1963. It's a sounding rocket. And they shoot.
Oh, go ahead.
And they shoot these rockets off because it creates plasma. And when you have a combination of solar wind, HARP, Arecibo, any one of these, ionospheric heaters, might as well show them. This is ClimateViewer 3D. And I'm going to just click on ionospheric heaters. You see them in red. That's HARP and Poker Flats, and that's Arecibo. Whenever they fire off these rockets up here, this is Poker Flats right up by High Pass. Poker Flats right about here. There's a rocket range for every ionospheric heater in the world.
That's right.
So Poker Flats is in Alaska. It goes with HARP. Over here at Tromsø, which is in Norway. The hell is it? There it is. Up here, there's the Andoya rocket range. Don't I have these on the lasers thing? Yeah, there it is. Yeah, Alomar Observatory. I was like, I know I've got a picture of this thing. That's not it. It's this one. So, yeah, it's called the Andoya rocket range. So that's the one for Tromsø, and there's one for each one. Down here at Jicamarca, they got one. I haven't seen the one at Arecibo, but I got to assume there is. But they shoot these rockets off. They're sounding rockets, just like the one at Wallops. The Wallops Air Force Base, the Wallops rocket range is, I know I've got it under Super Darn. There it is. Yep, and Super Darn at Wallops.
And then you've got Edwards Air Force Base out there in California?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So for these rocket ranges, let's add what the role the jets play and the jet fuel, as long as we've got here in the map. Yeah.
So yeah. Let me finish that one idea. So the general idea is that since 63, they've been shooting off rockets to modify this space weather, and the simple term is cloud seeding. This is plasma seeding. Weather modification. This is space weather modification. Mm-hmm. So they started all this in 63. They still to this day do it exactly the same. It's sounding rockets and ground-based radars. They heat these particles up. That creates fire in the sky, as they say right here. HARP creates fire in the sky. That's what it looks like. It's a big plasma fireball. Mm-hmm. And I mean, that's what they've been doing since 63. So, I mean, this is what we're talking about with the space fence. It's part of that system, where they actively now modify space so that they get the kind of environment they want for controlling signals worldwide. What do you think about that, Elana?
Absolutely. It's good. It's good. It's in a little bit different language than I use, but I like it.
Yeah. And this is a grand view of the space fence, and this is only showing missile defense radars, ionospheric heaters, Super Darn, and lasers. And there's more to it than that, because you have digisigns as well. They're in green here, and the list goes on. But what we're talking about is, a technocracy, a scientific, instrument-driven, science-based governance of the world. Right. That in this case, when you refer to the space fence, is a military based system of what they call signals intelligence, right?
SIG-INT.
Yep, SIG-INT. And if you guys don't know this jargon, then I would suggest you A, start with Elana's book, and B, come over to ClimateViewer 3D and get familiar with some of these things. You can click on them. I got pictures with links. You can go see the entire system yourself, like the nav spacer, space fence. It goes across the belt here, and the list goes on. So let's talk about chemtrails. That's what you want to do right now, right?
Well, and the role of because one of our topics we decided on was the role of the jet fuel in all of this and how it feeds into this. And I want you, because you made a comment when we were talking on the phone about how the military aspect is a little different from the jet fuel that comes out of the commercial airliners. And I want to hear a little more about that.
Yeah. Okay, so all right, so this is the thing that like most people split hairs about. That, and I hear this the most often, that if there was a chemtrail conspiracy, everybody would have to be involved. I mean, you've heard that, right, Elana?
Oh, sure.
I mean, everybody would have to be involved. Well, if you want to read what I believe the conspiracy is, this is the article, The Chemtrail Conspiracy Bombshell, Secret Agenda Explained. I'm not going to read it now because it's in Elana's upcoming book, which I'm very excited
Oh, this
about.
is it? Oh, okay. This is it.
I put it there, and I want to thank Elana for helping me really, narrow down what my own beliefs were, because honestly, like, I'd never thought of putting it to paper. But really, when that forced me to really check a lot of my, own research and come up with what I believed it was. And, it did reaffirm a lot of things I believed to begin with. And that is that there's really two systems going on here. And it's the only thing that makes sense, based on the observations of everybody I talk to and the, photos and videos I'm seeing.
And I just want to insert here, the reason I'm pushing Jim to lay this out, given that I don't know that he has laid it out before on another show, is because the main criticism of Jim Lee's ideas by a lot of chemtrail newcomers and others is that he's just limiting everything to the jet fuel and no alternative system, no supplementary system for other things going on in chemical trails. So that's why I want him to clarify it.
Well, first of all, and I thank him right here at the bottom of my article. I thank my stepfather, U.S. Air Force Chief Master Sergeant Sam Powers. So I have family who actually was an expert on fuel systems and, corrosion in military planes. He was a 30-year veteran, Chief Master Sergeant, top of the, enlisted, knew every system, knew everything about it. And after I had done all of my research and came to this conclusion, I had this aha moment where I said to myself, oh, Sam would know. Dude, he would totally know if I was right. So I went and I called him and I explained it. I said, now don't say a thing till I'm done, because I don't want you to give me any clues. And when I was done, he was like, Jim, you nailed it. I mean, the stuff I could tell you about this thing. So I'm going to tell you guys at home about it. You be the judge. They have this thing called the NATO single fuel concept. All right. And I'm going to scroll through this article. It's called Contrails, Geoengineering, and the Single Fuel Concept. And what you got basically is a lot of fluff at the beginning, but it's kind of backstory. But the general idea is this: that during I got a timeline here. Let's just start with that. All right there. During the 1988 to 1997 period, NATO switched all of its planes from gasoline to diesel fuel. Now, I know this might be a head scratcher for you, because at home, like if you drive a Ford Mustang and you just decided, hell, I want to put some diesel fuel in there, I think you can imagine what would happen. And I was like, okay, so I'm reading this and I'm going, this is just an idea. They didn't really do it. And then I realized they actually did it. So the idea is this, that they have this thing called the NATO Fuel Pipeline Committee. And I will find it for you right now in this extensive list of crap. That basically they decide who in the world is spraying. That's the question, right? Who in the world is spraying? It's right there in my article. The NATO Pipeline Committee determines the standards for jet fuel and approve additives across 28 NATO member states. Does this map look anything like the picture, where the majority of the photos of chemtrails come? I mean, is it just a coincidence, or am I like, okay, never mind. Let's just move along. Let's just work this out. The NATO NPC, and I'm not talking about non-player character. I'm talking about NATO Pipeline Committee. The NATO Pipeline Committee, it's NPC. They're restating. Yeah, shut up. It's a world government thing. What do you expect? So they have the working group number 1, which is called AC-112WG Special Tasks, which takes on special tasks as directed by the NATO Pipeline Committee. I cannot find a damn thing about who those people are or what they do, but they handle special tasks related to the fuel that goes in every plane in every NATO country. They also, because of the way they write these things called STANAGs, and I think I've got a couple right here. STANAG 1135, interchangeability of fuels, lubricants, and associated projects used by the armed forces of the Northern Atlantic Treaty Nations. This thing right here says, if you want to make jet fuel or lubricants or any kind of stuff, additives that are going to go in any kind of jet military plane that's owned by NATO or used by NATO, it's got to be this way. And there's a lot of money to be had there. So what ends up happening is that even the commercial fuel follows these standards. Mm-hmm. It's called interchangeability for a freaking reason. So at the end of the day, they also have these other ones like STANAG 3747, which says guide specifications, minimum quality standards for aviation turbine fuels for F-34, 35, F-40, and F-44. That's like JP8, JP5, and JP8 plus 100. So these are, and you can see them right here. Here's the military standard, and it's got the numbers next to it for JP8, NATO F-34, NATO F-35, and JP8 plus 100, which is NATO F-37. So basically what I'm saying is that the military, this little group, most importantly, this AC-112, which I believe, and this is from my memory, I have it somewhere on a file, there's like 12 dudes in that group. They could decide they wanted to geoengineer the planet. They write it on a sheet of paper, and in a couple weeks, 28 countries are spraying that.
Wow.
That's it in a nutshell. So this is the NATO single fuel concept, was that when they switched from JP5 to JP8, JP5 had about 2,000 parts per billion of aluminum in it. Now, JP8 has 9,000 parts per billion in it. I don't know if I've got it right here. I know it. I've got it on my other page. I'll go get it off my other page real quick. I don't want to make everybody sick. But so what happened was when they switched from gasoline fuel to diesel fuel, it doesn't burn as accurately, as cleanly. I know people want to argue about that. They'll say, oh, no, it's actually much more clean. And I'm going, I saw a bus make a chemtrail in my front yard. It's diesel fuel. It's something about diesel fuel. And the more I wax on it, pardon my pun, the more I realize it does have something to do with what's called, with wax. I think we're there. There we are. All right. So this is trace element and polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbon analysis of jet engine fuels, Jet A, JP5, and JP8. And what you see right there is that the JP5 they were using in 1988 had 2,000 parts per billion of aluminum in it. JP8 has 9,360,
Yeah.
3 times at least. So this stuff doesn't burn. Go look, even metabunk retard trolls go, well, the flashpoint of this is less than that. And if any aluminum was in there, it wouldn't burn. And I'm going, durr. So all of that aluminum that's already in the jet fuel comes out the back end unburnt. Not all of it unburnt. A lot of it becomes aluminum oxide. And we're not going to get real waxed. I don't want to wax deep on the chemical stuff. I've got all the equations. They're all in papers. Go read them.
Yeah.
But the point is, aluminum and strontium, you can see that strontium in JP5, 70, in JP8, 358. Titanium.
Wow, it's a big one.
35. Wait for it. 1,056. So titanium dioxide happens to be something that David Keith was real fond of spraying, wasn't it?
Oh, was he?
Yes, it's been yeah, I believe it's in the stratosphere at Welsbach for cooling the planet patent that it says titanium dioxide. Also, go to the timeline here. Let me reset at the beginning. Show most recent, go to the very bottom, and there's AMEG. These guys, these prickholes, AMEG, they said, let's geoengineer the whole planet back in 2013, and this is what they said: develop and test the deployment and suitability of reflective particles of such materials such as titanium dioxide, TiO2. It's a popular chemical for solar radiation management or albedo modification, but the redneck version is sun blocking. These jerk offs think they can cool the planet by blocking the sun, and they want to use reflective metal particles to do it. And lo and behold, what do I find out over here? These guys, from 1988 to 1997, switched to diesel fuel, that JP8 loaded with metals. And in 1997, they completed that. When they completed it in 1997, that was the first time the word chemtrails was ever used on the internet. You can't make this up. And you can see that they also came up with this stuff called +100 additive. And it says propulsion research could revolutionize jet fuel. And you can see it right here let's see if I can blow that image up real quick. Let's see, view image. What you see here is on the left, this is JP8, and this is ice crystals. And this is 1 millimeter right here. And then over here, this is the JP8 with the +100 additive, and you have smaller ice crystals. And the thing about smaller ice crystals is they persist longer. So if you put the two together, you got +100, which makes ice crystals smaller, and you got JP8, which is loaded with frickin' metals. So that's why we have chemtrails worldwide coming from military planes.
And commercial, Jim?
Yeah, and the commercial planes are very similar in nature because they are now using this +100 additive as well. What that does is they heat up the gas tank. The gas tank is used as a radiator. So they actually heat the gas up to 200 degrees Fahrenheit. And the +100 additive, which is called a HITS additive, a high thermal stability additive, it allows them to heat the gas another 100 degrees, which makes the ice, and because of the chemical cocktail that they put in there, and it's called SpecAid 8Q462. I've got some, PDFs and stuff on this over on my on my script. But this is a fancy chemical that they add to it that basically allows them to change the chemical composition of the fuel completely. And the point being that now, even with the commercial planes, everybody's experimenting on the jet fuel constantly. And this one happens to coincide with the start of the chemtrail problem. The first 3 articles written about with the word chemtrail on them mention JP8 by name. So
back in 98.
Yeah, they were in 98. So it's not in my mind, it's not a coincidence. When I talked to my chief master sergeant father-in-law, he or stepfather, he basically says, when we switched to that JP8, it destroyed fuel filters. We had black belch coming out of the back, which is this, black, carbon black dust soot, that just coated the engines. They had coking problems. Coking is where it builds up inside the combustors. So they had to redesign the combustors and everything on all of these large planes because they were basically smoking,
Yeah.
And this is something that they did because the NATO pipeline committee said that we could save a lot of money on putting gas in tanks and planes if they all use the same gas. And that's it. So was it a conspiracy that they wanted to save money on gas, so they ended up breaking the M1 Abrams smoke system? You can't make this stuff up. So they put the JP8 in the M1 Abrams, and they have this smoke deployment system that'll shoot smoke canisters and all that. Well, they wouldn't smoke because of the way the JP8 was, and they had problems with it having too much wax buildup in it. And it was when it would freeze, like in freezing conditions, the JP8s would the tanks would roll to a stop, but they were doing all this to make it cheap. So at the end of the day, go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I want to interrupt here. Now, the other thing that comes up is, so when there's barium in the fuel, and barium is really important to electro-optical operations in the sky and communications. Is it put there for military purposes, or is it simply made use of because it's already in the fuel?
See, and that's a real hairy one, and I'm going to be brutally honest right now, and I hate to do this. So I've been saying for quite a while that status 450, it's this additive, that it has barium in it. And it's been brought to my attention that I actually missed a comma on a cast number I actually should have seen. And there's a difference between naphthalene sulfonic acid and dinonyl naphthalene sulfonic acid, barium salt. Now, me and Mick West are kind of butting heads about this shit. And I haven't changed my website yet, which is really pissing off this guy named Oswald on Twitter. So I actually haven't updated it because Oswald's pissed and it's fun. But what I'm seeing is that, yeah, there may be a case where that actually isn't a barium salt, but then I'm reading papers where they say that the barium salt is produced by neutralization of the dinonyl naphthalene sulfonic acid, DENZA. And I'm waiting for an answer from my father-in-law on that before I trust Mick West and update my whole freaking website. But this is a very hair-splitting. Does it already contain the barium in its original form? Or does it have to be neutralized in a process outside of the plane for it to become a barium salt? So
could it become a barium salt through pyrolysis
that's exactly where I'm going with this, Elana, is that at the end of the day, once you burn a thing, magic happens.
Transform it. You transform it.
So, and oh God, I should just do it right now.
No, don't do it now. We're busy.
No, I'm going to say something right now.
Okay.
So here's the real rub. And I had this moment of brilliance the other day, and I'm going to just share it with everybody right now. But I'm calling dibs, and it's recorded here. So what does Volkswagen and chemtrails have to do with each other? Emissions cheating. Now, Volkswagen is in a whole bunch of crap because they gave a Volkswagen car to the government and they took it in a lab and they hooked it up to a computer and they did a test and they said the emissions was this. And then they went out in the real world and they saw the emissions were that. Now, every single paper I have ever read about emissions coming from planes were done in a lab. And I've only seen maybe 14, 15 papers where there was what's called an in situ or on-site test of what would be a real world exhaust plume. And even then, it's partial. You know what I mean? Because you've obviously got background wind and shitty sensors. But the fact remains that there really is no real world data on what's coming out of these planes
available.
Yeah. And that's just, it's like, I try to tell people, and this is where people really hate on me, is like, I'm trying to tell you to think of this as a pollution issue, because you could march your ass up to Washington right now and say, you know, planes have been flying over my head for 60 years. There really is no, you know, proper testing of any of it. The Russian government could put uranium in the freaking fuel tank and spray us all tomorrow, and there's no protection whatsoever. And you guys have never even tested, let alone have a way of testing. You know, if somebody were nefarious and wanted to put anthrax, wake up, Homeland Security, holla at your boy. I'll tell you all about this shit. I got it in an article. But if somebody decided to put, you know, like I saw this thing, hollow spheres for hollow worlds, where they've got these nano nuclear glass balls that the Savannah River nuclear site here in my lovely home state of South Carolina is making, where they can fill these nuclear glass balls with chemicals, with drugs.
Yeah.
If we're making it, other people can make it. And these things are designed to be suspended in fuels. They're for fuel cells. So if it can contain drugs, if it can be put in fuel, and we are in a nanotechnology world, is it really not plausible that some asshole, some terrorist, some rogue state, some jerk could put something in there? Is it possible that NATO has decided to geoengineer the planet, and a group of 12 dudes was like, you know, all we got to do is make sure that the titanium is pretty high in there and we'll switch to a fuel high in titanium, and suddenly the whole world will get geoengineered? Shit, that happened.
So things can be added to the fuel for dissemination.
Yes.
Yeah.
So here's an example. This is what they have now is called biofuels, and this is really screwed up. This one particular biofuel is called J-tropha. I'm just going to read this quote. J-tropha biodiesel, a fuel derived from crushed seeds of the J-tropha plant, water, and a surfactant, then blended in different proportions of alumina nanoparticles.
Uh-huh.
In addition to outperforming regular biofuel, the nanoparticle spiked fuels produced significantly lower quantities of nitrogen oxide and carbon monoxide gases and created less smoke.
Uh-huh. Okay, so yeah.
Yeah, so and then the point of that is, and they worry, also caution, nanoparticles should be used judiciously because they tend to entrain in human bodies. So I mean, this is straight from phys.org. You know what I mean? This is not like, you know, some crazy shit here. This is how to put more bang in your biofuels. This is for jet fuel.
So if it were feasible for a delivery system for the Morgellons and fungi that we're not particularly accustomed to here, those could also be added to jet fuel in some way?
It's a tough one, because I mean, like I say, the only situation where I think that's even possible is with these, what they call hollow spheres. And these are hollow they're nanoparticulate sized hollow glass spheres. And they're made from spent uranium, you know, nuclear waste, stuff like that. And they crush this stuff into these tiny little bubbles that they can fill with things. And the original article about that said that specifically they were going to put sulfur in those glass balls, put them in the jet fuel so that they could geoengineer the planet using these sulfur filled glass balls.
Right.
But if they also say that they're going to use them for medicine and national security, I hate that freaking wide ass term.
Right.
But this is not out of the realm of possibility, especially given the history of the U.S. Army Chemical Corps and the zinc cadmium sulfide sprayings of, the 50s. We didn't find out about that for 60 years.
Right. Now, what about polymers? Because the outer shell of the Morgellons delivery system is a polymer, is made of polymer. Are there polymers in the jet fuel? Could those be put into the jet fuel for delivery?
I'm pretty sure. Let me find something real quick. There's this new thing about jet fuel polymers and making them crash safe. Have you heard about that?
No.
Okay, so let's do this. All right, sticky chains. That's what they're called. Let me bring that up on the screen. And there we go.
Sticky chains, huh?
Here we go. And it's sticky chains promise crash safe fuel. And it says chemical engineers have produced an additive for jet fuel. Y'all are going to get used to hearing me say that. I'm going to say it till every MFer on the planet finally gets it. That reduces the risk of violent explosions, but at least in laboratory tests, does not compromise engine function.
Mm-hmm.
And the way it works is here they got a nice little video. I don't want to play it because God knows the copyright trolls will probably destroy this video live. I almost clicked it. Woo.
Oh.
Yeah, but it says once they had a polymer that looked promising, the team added it to both diesel and jet fuel and tested how well it prevented explosions, both before and after putting it through the fuel pump 50 times. The results were promising. Poof! Look, it didn't flash as big. I mean, this is before, this is after. Much less flame spread, So the idea is, if we could put some polymers in the jet fuel, hopefully when you hit the ground, it won't go boom,
Right.
But, then you'd be burning that crap on a daily basis.
Which
110,000 flights per day.
I think that's going on. Okay, so
that's one of a whole bunch of articles on that. I mean, you can see this is from NASA JPL,
And that was 2015, it looked like, right?
So this is a new thing. This is a relatively new thing. I don't know whether it's, in use or not. I highly doubt it, but it looks like, it's on the way. You know what I mean? Every single day I find some new reference to some new fancy additive that they want to stick in the jet fuel. So you have to realize that we don't find out about these things till usually after they've happened, and they say,
yeah, because these polymers could have been in there for years now.
Yeah, who knows?
So okay, now I just want to nail you down a little more.
Okay.
So it is possible to deliver biologicals by fuel additives of some protective nature that won't degrade the fuel use and the efficiency of it. Now, does that mean that we all down here are simply collateral damage for military operations and expediency in fuel efficiency? Is that what's going on?
I mean, at the end of the day, this is like the kryptonite for me. Like personally, I try to stay away from intent, and like that's what everybody does. That's like every single person on YouTube. They talk about intentions all day long. Whose intention, who did it, and they never say who. They say they, and they want to do this. They intend to do that. They want to hurt this. And I rarely do that because I've learned in life that I always am wrong about what I think people are thinking. And I try to not think that way at all. So it's hard for me to answer a question like that because I basically I analyze data and I look at it and I go, all of these coincidental facts add up to this. the probability of this being the case is this. And the only real secret agenda I see going on is, pretty widely known by now. I mean, me and Harold Save and a couple other people really talk about it, but there's been 100-year agenda to melt the freaking poles. And now they're finally getting what they want. So I think that what you see is that back when Huxley said, we need 2 degrees of warming, and then the IPCC says we need to limit the warming to 2 degrees. That's slave speak. It's the same damn thing, you still end up with 2 fucking degrees of warming. You gotta limit it to that,
But going back just for a moment to what you said that you see this as a pollution problem of the jet fuel, and so from that angle, as part of pollution.
Yeah, go ahead.
Then aren't we then just collateral damage? Because surely they know they're polluting us. They know that.
Aaron freaking Brockovich. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody knows the story. Go watch Aaron Brockovich if you haven't seen it. But every single industry is the same, and the planes are the same as fracking as anything else. Until enough people are hurt, that there's enough public awareness that there is a class action lawsuit, that there is some kind of smoking gun, and you nail their ass to the wall, their billion-dollar lawyers' asses to the wall,
right?
Then you make them pay. That's when they admit they did something wrong. And even then, they never admit that what they did was wrong. They just say, we agree to, in that legal bullshit speak they use, that, okay, well, we agree to pay this amount of money to you as we hand it to you for no particular reason because we didn't actually do a damn thing wrong, but the judge says we have to, therefore we will pay you. And I think the same is true of the airline industry. There are no regulations on it. Yeah. That's why when the EPA, gave the opportunity for somebody to speak up about airplane pollution, I sought the ability to go up there and tell them to their face. Yeah. They've been, pooping out God knows what for 60 years. Nobody's ever tested it. I think you should test it. And I think you guys might be able to restore a little faith. And, I dissed them in the process because I didn't believe for 1 second they would do a damn thing, but I wanted it part of the record. It goes into the public record forever.
Right. And this that we're talking about now does not at all hinge on intent, because I am not one of the people that thinks that they're up there trying to kill us. That's not what is on their minds. And I think it is, you are right, it is part of the pollution problem. As far as the biologicals being added to the fuel chamber, that is possible, as I've heard you say. They can add things that can deliver other things, and that's really all I care about. I don't need pylons right on here.
This is the microspheres for microworlds. Savannah River Nuclear Labs. Porous, hollow glass balls open new opportunities for hydrogen storage, drug delivery, and national defense. And right here, it says, not to mention also contributing to arenas such as nuclear proliferation and global warming. So what does glass balls have to do with global warming? And well, anyway, it was on the Christian Science Monitor website, was the original and only reference to this. And they said that they had quoted a scientist at SRNL and said that they were going to use it in jet fuel. They were going to put sulfur inside the glass balls and put the glass balls in the jet fuel because they wouldn't burn up and they would get dispersed in the heavens and refract, sunlight and change the albedo of the planet and all that fancy global warming nonsense.
Right.
But you have to breathe that crap if you do that.
Exactly.
And that's poison. I mean, there's no way. I mean, it sounds to me like, what's the cancer you get from breathing that asbestos? I mean, it sounds like, getting asbestos in your lungs, glass balls from hell.
But now I want to ask you just a small question. Have you seen any evidence of supplementary systems on wings, pylons, spewing out things from the wings, other than not fuel, jettisoning fuel, but any evidence at all that there are supplementary systems to the chemical deliveries?
No.
Okay.
I mean, unfortunately, and I'm a nosy MFer. I'm telling you,
Yep.
I have people send me stuff every single day.
Yep.
And I'm gonna challenge everybody right now. And please, I know I'm gonna get a whole lot of crap I've seen before, but I see ballast tanks, I see, evergreen smoke, firefighting equipment. Yeah, I've seen it all. And I'm a Photoshop expert. All right. So I know a bullshit Photoshop when I see one, and I can detect editing. And if you guys don't know about Google image search, you can take any one of these images, drag it over to the Google search bar, and find usually where other websites have that same image. And I go and I go and I go, and I'm like, eventually I'm going to find one that I cannot explain. And I haven't.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had, it'd be on my damn website. So,
but could any of those systems that you named, those alternate systems for delivery of other things, could they be dual use?
Yes.
For chemicals, they could.
Yes.
They
could, but
there's no proof.
But in the case of, like, the underbelly 4-pot, fire water dump, the red dye dumping things. I mean, that's not what people are seeing. I mean, you can see it coming from the engines. It's bifurcated and all that stuff. So it's like, that's not the case. So I'm going, what's in there? And I look at these, jet fuel additives and just what's in the fuel itself. It's like, what are you looking for? I mean, you look at this
that's
stuff,
a lot right there.
I mean, this is just what's legally required. Biocides to kill the humbugs.
Oh my gosh.
Biobor, Cathon, you can choose which one, but it's look at that. I mean, look at these damn words. Sulfur hexafluoride in tracer A, that's illegal. I mean, that's a banned greenhouse gas, and they put it in there to detect leaks in the fuel system.
Right.
Corrosion inhibitors, all of these are legitimate ones, and a lot of them, contained cancer. This CERA-3. These are banned, xylenes are cancer-causing chemicals. I mean, most of this stuff is cancer-causing. Circle right there, CERA-313. It's naphthalene. It's a cancer-causing chemical, and they put it in there and they burn it overhead. This is what they do, and the list goes on. I'm still not done. This is the plus 100s down here. Spec 8 AQ462, Aeroshell Performance Additive 101, Turboline FS100, and DuPont JFA 5. I have no idea what the hell that is. There's no material safety data sheet for it.
Yeah.
And the list goes on, but this is where I got this from. It's from ExxonMobil, and you can see that it shows, like, at the top, Jet A, and it shows a dot, which means it's required. And O would be optional. So metal deactivators optional, but these are required, and, corrosion inhibitors required. Jet A required, all 4 of those.
Yeah.
So you start looking at it and you go, wow, man, there's a lot of freaking crazy chemicals that they just add to the fuel. And the fuel is completely random. Like, what's actually in the fuel itself chemically is very random. It could go from one extreme to another. And that's what makes this so damn interesting, is that, everybody just assumes that it's just one way. But I mean, there's like, 28 different kinds of fuel, from different manufacturers around the world, and none of them are the same. Some of the fuel is made from coal. I know you guys have heard the coal fly ash thing, but I mean, they make the actual, diesel fuel, the JP8, from coal itself. They make it from, landfill waste. It's called landfill to jet. That's a biofuel? Yeah, it's a biofuel. Mm-hmm. They got chicken fat, camelina plant. The list goes on. It's actually pretty freaking nuts now. Let me just show you that one. Here, I'll just type biofuels and see what we get. But it's getting pretty freaking interesting. And the sad part about it is that they realize these biofuels are actually going to hurt the environment more than it's going to help. The aviation industry faces massive carbon taxes right now, and they're trying to do anything they can to keep from getting sued out of the sky. Where's the damn thing at? Oh,
I don't think people would let them be sued out of the sky, would they? People need to fly.
Yeah, and that's really the actual conspiracy, is that, they've started this biofuel thing. It's something called greenwashing. If you guys haven't heard the term greenwashing, all one word, greenwashing. It's where you take a dirty industry and you make it green. Just on the outside appearance, the surface. And that's what this is really about, So here's the map: optimum land for growing sustainable aviation biofuels, algae in the orange, jatropha in the blue dots, camelina plant in the green dots. That's West Coast, America. Biofuels using municipal waste can potentially be produced near any urban area.
Yeah.
So coming to a landfill near you, jet fuel plant.
Right.
And that's really it. And this is that Spec 8 AQ. There's the thing I was telling you about earlier. I have a actual flyer for it: turbine fuel stabilizer and detergent additive. And this is interesting. In the late 80s, as a part of the U.S. Air Force Fuel Thermal Stability Improvement Project, which went on at the same time as the single fuel concept, an exhaustive search of more than 325 candidates was made to find an additive that could increase the thermal stability of jet fuel by as much as 100 degrees. Spec 8 AQ462 is the only additive to meet the project's goals. It has now been in use in the U.S. Air Force and other foreign air forces for more than 20 years.
And what's in that? What's in that AQ?
There are three I can't keep it. There are 3 trade secret ingredients. None of your fucking business.
None of your fucking business. Yeah. Okay, so we have used our hour. I'm sorry, Jim. I warned you that I was going to interview you on your show.
You totally did.
And I knew that you would be a pushover for that. But we did need to clear this up. And more than that, it's selfish. I wanted to clear it up in my mind.
Yeah, and so now I'm really going to confuse the shit out of you. So now that they switched from JP5 to JP8 from 1988 to 1996, 1997, the word chemtrail hit the internet. And today in 2014, with the testing of civilian grade Jet A with additives nearly complete, 36 military bases in the U.S. have converted away from the military grade JP8. The remaining more than 230 locations are slated to convert in 2014. Virtually all Department of Defense aviation and ground equipment have been tested and is ready for use of commercial specification Jet A fuel with additives.
But Jet A, is that JP8?
Jet A is what every single commercial flight you see flying uses. So now they've converted once more from JP8. They're converting to the same fuel that all of the other planes. So what has happened, Elana? Every single plane in the sky using the same fuel, and guess who's going to determine what's in it? The DoD bought 73 million barrels at a cost of $12 billion for jet fuel globally just in 2013. That's why they can determine what's in these planes. That's why they can put it up anywhere, anytime, because the NATO pipeline committee can determine what 28 countries are buying. That. It's their word. They determine it. They got the purse, and what they get, they want.
Yeah.
So now they're on civilian grade fuel and they're determining what's in it. And guess what? Every single plane that's from Delta to Sky Blue, whatever, they're all going to have the same thing. And it's going to be determined by the military. Yeah. And that's just the way love goes. So did I successfully I have to mention one last thing before we go, because if I didn't, it's going to kill me. It's going to kill me because you were all right. Wait for it. Wait for it. This is priceless. All right. Air America, the story of the CIA secret airlines. So not only can they do what we're talking about, they actually have their own secret airline. Now I saw a prominent article on this just recently, but basically the CIA owns its own completely white planes, just like the ones everybody sees pooping all over the sky. So look into that, because the CIA, John Brennan, just mentioned geoengineering in front of the CFR. Everybody freaked out in the chemtrail community. Heads up, the CIA paid $630,000 to the National Academy of Science and the National Research Council, rebranded geoengineering from climate engineering to climate intervention. They are studying geoengineering, and they asked Alan Robach, if somebody was geoengineering the United States, would we know? And they own their own planes. Climate change is a national security concern. And if they wanted to geoengineer, they would damn well do it and ask no one. So does that answer all of the questions you had?
Yeah, that one I knew about the CIA, but no, I think that's good. I'm going to save this one because I constantly get that critique from people about, is it a supplementary system or is it coming out of the fuel chamber? So that's about it.
At the end of the day, what you end up with is, if it's in the fuel and you dump the fuel, aka fuel dumping, you're putting whatever chemical you want in raw format directly in the air. What's the difference between that and pumping it out?
Right, but when you're saying the fuel dump, are you talking about how they dump fuel out of the wings?
Yes,
when they're approaching landing.
Yes, except I've got plenty of videos of them dumping at like 20, 30,000 feet. Like, what the hell are you doing?
There you go.
I mean, there are many videos of this. Go look it up. And you'll see, the military guy sitting there and it's just blowing out the side. They are level. They are above clouds. And I'm going,
that's important. That's an important point.
Yeah. So, I mean, what are they doing? Why are they doing it?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I mean, at the end of the day, when you put that stuff out in raw format, it's going to make monstrously large clouds. And that's just a no-brainer. The last thing would be, of course, we could talk about the solar minimum that's coming up and how GCR is affecting clouds. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think that the military knows exactly what it's doing. They knew how to create and destroy clouds in 58 using carbon black dust. They know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's not a coincidence when they switch the gas to a high titanium, high aluminum, increased metal content fuel, and then suddenly there's clouds all over the freaking planet.
Right. Okay, it's been an hour. Does that matter to you?
It doesn't matter to me, but what we promised we would keep it to an hour just so that people would actually tune in and listen to the whole thing. Now I'm going to have to bring your ass back on here and interview you for an hour. Okay.
Okay. But we did cover some really good stuff for me. Thanks so much. I appreciate it.
So what do you think now? Do I sound crazy?
No, not at all. No, I totally am in your camp.
Well, that matters to me, people, because I really like Elana Freeland, and you guys really need to check her out on Facebook. Once again, let me bring that up just so everybody at home can see it. You guys go check her out on Facebook, like her page, and follow her. It's Elana Freeland, HAARP, Chemtrails, and here, let me bring the whole thing up. See if they can see the picture right there. There's her book, Elana Freeland, Chemtrails, HAARP, and the Full Spectrum Dominance of Planet Earth. Go buy it and look for her new book, which does it even have a title yet?
Yeah, it does have a title. Let's see. Under an Ionized Sky, From Chemtrails to Space Fence Lockdown.
Ooh, I like it.
Yeah, that'll be out in September.
I cannot wait.
Yeah.
So everybody definitely stay tuned for that. And Elana, thank you for coming on and basically grilling me. I feel like I just got like a spotlight put in my face for an hour.
That was fun. That was very fun because I don't have a radio show. Wah.
Cry me a river. So,
Okay.
oh man, and you know what? And I do this every time, guys. I'm gonna go before I hang up. I'm gonna go through this chat room real quick and look, because I had the chat room up, and I promised myself I will look at the damn chat room during the show today. But unfortunately, people, this is episode 3, so I need to practice keeping. I'll just next time I'll make sure that here. Let's peek at my other window now, just so you guys can see the mess I got going on over here. So next time I'll make sure that it looks like that, where I can see the chat and follow along. But thank you guys for hanging out during the show. I really appreciate it. I'm going to go through that right now, and the chat will be here for just a little bit longer. Elana, you're always the best.
All right, Jim. Thank you so much.
We barely talked about the people in the chemtrail community.
Yeah, next time.
But there's always next time.
Yeah.
So with that, unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing's going to get better. It's not. Love you, mean it, and we'll see you next Sunday. We'll keep doing these every Sunday, so tune in and definitely check Elana Freeland out. She's good people, and she's highly recommended. Love you, mean it. Bye.